Welcome to the Fight and Talk UK podcast, episode 4. Take a look at this fella and we'll chat. This is bare knuckle boxing champion Jimmy Sweeney. He's got a record of 27 wins, 2 losses. Both losses he redeemed straight after with rematches. He's now going down as one of the all-time greats. But in this interview he speaks about mental health problems, travellers with mental health, drink problems, drug problems, and opens up his heart. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching, this is the real Jimmy Sweeney. The man we see on the screen is a brilliant bare knuckle fighter, but who's the man behind the knuckles? Right, I'm joined by Jimmy Sweeney. Jimmy, thank you. I know we've been trying to catch up for a couple of weeks. You're a busy man, I know that. And obviously, your date on April the 10th is looming. Let's just quickly talk about that. The biggest fight of your life. Definitely.
Well, it's one of them. Probably the biggest fight was probably the rematch with Franco, with everything that was on the line and stuff like that. So that was probably the biggest. But this one is massive fight as well against the well-established BKB fighters. He's 6-0, six knockouts. So massive fight as well. But I just think the Franco rematch, with everything that was going on with me, with my health wise and stuff like that, I'm just yeah, just with the mental process, what I was going through and the drink and all that. So I think that was the biggest fight. But yeah, this is an absolutely massive fight for me. It's for another world title. It'll be my 6th world title. So it's massive.
Jimmy, obviously people see you on YouTube with all your fights, everything, and people see you obviously as what you are, a very hard man, you're a fighter. But after your last fight, you give a very, very emotional interview about mental health. Before I go on to a couple of other things, can you go into detail, about what your mental? I mean, like Tyson Fury, is it a similar story? When you see Tyson Fury, can you understand that story?
Well, I seen it, and fair play to Tyson Fury coming out and addressing that and showing people that even the toughest people get it. But mine's going back years now. My dad suffered with mental health as well, and he's depressed and kind of like fond of drink as well. And he committed suicide in 2003. So from then really, that's my mental health started really going like bad and all that. But I've never like seen anyone for help on that. But I kind of then I went to like prison, and when I got out of prison, then I started drinking heavily, and that was back in 2012. So I started drinking heavy then, and I've been through a lot these past few years, and I was a horrible person drinking, and I didn't know how to deal with my mental health, so I was masking it with alcohol.
But alcohol covered that. Alcohol helped you at that time.
Alcohol and cocaine, but not really much cocaine. But I was still taking it, which is you shouldn't be taking that crap. But yeah, my drinking got to the point where I was drinking 6-7 days a week, and like when I'd wake up in the morning, I'd be thinking, well, how am I going to get a drink today? Because my partner at the time was she's good, like obviously she didn't want me drinking all that, so I was thinking, fucking, how am I going to get a drink? And I was, oh, let's go for food and all that, and then I was spending a fortune on food a week just to get my drink. So she just couldn't put up with it kind of anymore, and we separated. But I stopped drinking, and because I wasn't drinking, I had to deal with my emotions and my mental health, and I got to the point where I couldn't. So I was basically saying goodbye to all my loved ones, and had a plan in action and all that. And So she said to me, "Oh, what you said? Why are you talking like this? Why are you talking this?" And I said, "Look, I can't do it anymore. I'm just, you know what I mean? I can't be here." And next thing I know, my good friend come down and got me and brought me in to see psychiatrist in the hospital and all that. So kind of saved my life. And I mean, if I can help anyone that's going through the same thing, I will. And you know what I mean? The hardest thing for me, I think, was admitting that I had like a problem, or that initial speaking to someone about it. You know what I mean? That initial just step of talking about it. But once that was done, I found it a lot easier. Then you know what I mean? Everything just came out. I was in a psychiatrist's office crying and stuff like that, and everything just came out. They put me on these sertraline tablets, 100 milligram, and you know what I mean. I've come a long way, but obviously with depression, and it never goes. You're always trying to just keep on top of it, but it never goes.
Jimmy, what helps you most with it? Is it the fight when you've got a fight date and you're training towards that, or obviously you've got a little one now as well, ain't you?
No, I got 5 kids. I've 4 of my own. I have a step kid as well.
Right.
So my thing is you, my dad, as I said, my dad committed suicide back in 2003. I was only 19 years of age. My youngest sister was about 6. Now that's absolutely destroyed our family. You know what I mean? So to me, I was at a stage where I thought there was no other way out, but I see I'm not going to do that to my kids. You know what I mean? My family, I'm not going to do that. So that's what's keeping me on top of it. If my dad didn't do that, my dad was still alive, and I was out the felt ways of dead, I probably, I would have done it. But I know the effect and the devastation that it has on families. So that's the main reason that they're still here. But as I said, I've stopped drinking, and I'm one of them people where I have an addictive personality. So whatever I do, whether it be drinking or anything like that, so now I'm addicted to training. You know what I mean? So I need. I mean, if I don't get stop training for a couple of days, I get all, you know what I mean, down and all that. So it's just I swap the bad one for a good one. You know what I mean?
But
So
how easy is it, Jimmy? Because you work as well, don't you? You're a working man. You've got family life. How easy is it? It's not easy to do training, working life, family life, is it? It's a lot to squeeze in, mate.
It's a hard job, but it's gotta be done. Yeah, I'm currently I'm away from let's say separated from the missus and all that. So so the time I was working in, I'm living in Leicester, so I was working in Lincolnshire down just last week, and I was just it was too far away. So it was too far. It was it's like 5 hours from where my kid is. So it's hard. But at the end of the day, you got to put food on the table and pay your bills and all that. Well, it's hard, but you make it work.
Jimmy, I want to pick up on something that you said in the interview as well. Obviously, we're on the subject of mental health, and it's I watched the interview. I heard you say it, and I was quite saddened by hearing it as well. And I really wanted to know if you understood why. But you said at the end of it that there's a really high rate of young traveller men, particularly that are committing suicide.
We have my cultural traveller. We've obviously a low population of us. There's only a couple of 20,000-30,000 whatever, but we have a higher percentage of suicide than the settled community in Ireland, which is over 1 million people, 2 million people. So for size wise, and I can't put travelers have this thing where they don't talk about it. Like my young cousin who committed suicide there, he's only 18 years of age, you know what I mean? So I don't know, I can't put my finger on why. I mean, but what I do know is there's no talk about it, there's no talk about feelings, there's no if we said, oh, I'm depressed, You know what I mean? People are, the other travelers will look down on that and think you're weak and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So everyone keeps it to themselves and they keep it bottled in. And when you keep it bottled in, it makes it worse because you think you're just by yourself. And then we have the whole thing with the Irish travelers, like we used to be like second-class citizens back in our own country, and they find it hard to get work and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And they leave. Irish traveler kids leave school in about 14, 15. You know what I mean? They don't know what to do with themselves. So for me, we got to tackle that. We've got to keep them in school. We've got to get them focused on achieving things in life and take them away from like the mentality of that you can't talk to people or you can't talk about your feelings and stuff like that. You know what I mean? They need to open up more and need to open up more about life itself and not keep everything in and just better themselves in life.
Do you think maybe particularly for traveller boys, there's a lot of pressure on them to live up to maybe older generations of the family and stuff like that? Or
yeah, well, of course, it's obviously the boys on that, but with travellers as well. It's especially now there's a lot of them drinking and taking drugs in, but there's a lot of them getting like most travellers now are involved in family feuds and stuff like that. And you know what I mean? If you said to a kid, "Do you want to be involved?" That he probably said no, but he can't say no because his family's involved. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
And believe me, I've been there since I'm about 12 years of age. I've seen it all, and it gets to you, like, you know what I mean? Because you can't have a normal life. You can't enjoy life because you're constantly in these feuds. And most of them are absolutely pointless.
Yeah, that's yeah. I think you just answered my question there, Jimmy. Thank you. That's a brilliant answer. Thank you. Right, on to Jimmy. How did you like talking of mental thing? We just talk about your one of your losses, yeah. But how did you from both like? How was your first loss compared to the second one? Which one hurt more from your losses?
Do you know what? Both losses I lost due to my own stupidity. You know what I mean? My first loss was like I was bad on drinking drugs and I partied for about 7 weeks straight. I slept for about 4 days in that 7 weeks, and then I went to training camp, which is about 2 weeks. You know what I mean? So that's the first loss. It was devastating because I thought it was the best that ever was, and well, obviously I am, but I thought I was never going to lose. So that one absolutely devastated me, and but I come back stronger, and but I won the rematch in that, and the Franco one, then I let myself down because I was taking these weight cut fucking tablets because I was struggling with my weight and stuff like that. So you know what? The two of them affected me, but not to a point where it was devastating because I knew I let myself down on both occasions. I knew I was going to win the rematches.
And you did. And you did.
Yeah,
I
did in devastating fashion, especially last one. So with my losses, I knew I was better than what I performed and what I did, and I was just getting my head right and get myself back in the game. So yeah, so it was a learning thing. You know what I mean? I let myself down in both them fights, and yeah, but the comeback is always better than the setback, as they say. So I was glad to be able to come back to as I did.
Well, I mean, definitely, mate. Your record speaks for itself. But on that subject, you've got the fight coming up. The fight coming up is a massive fight. And your new sponsor, you've got new sponsors as well.
Yeah.
And your trainers and everything. Do you want to speak a bit about what your training camp's going to be? And
my training camp, as I said, I'm in Leicester at the moment, but Monday I'm moving back to Liverpool Monday, and I'm going to be in the gym called Four Corners Gym. John Gilly's name. It's a professional boxing, MMA and stuff like that. He does a lot with the MTK and all that. So I'm going to be up there, and Liverpool's a proper fight city. You know what I mean? So there's top gyms, top lads, and yeah. So it's going to be a hard 10 weeks in Liverpool, but it's going to be great, and I think I'm going to come into this fight the best shape I've ever been, and I'm more than confident of doing the job. I mean, so yeah, and I got a new sponsor there, and I put up a post about it, but I get a lot of people that head bowed, and in this game, any game, like you can't do it without sponsorship. You know what I mean?
No.
You need sponsorship. You need good people behind you. You need good coaches that believe in you. But sponsorship is the main thing, because especially when you have a family and you're trying to feed the family and all that, and just the extra little bit helps. So we're grateful to all the sponsors and all the sponsors of fighters. You know what I mean? It's great that they're involved.
Well, Jimmy, like, obviously you become pro in about 2016. Was that about right when you first started fighting on BKB team?
Yeah, I think around there. Was it something like that? Yeah.
Okay, so
about 15 or something like that.
okay, so when you first started, the show was still, let's say, in its younger days, yeah. But as it developed, you've taken on like UFC fighters and all that. What stage of you starting fighting when these international fights come? Did you realise, yeah, that this was big, man, and you were taking on people from not just England, because England, Ireland, you were taking on people that were coming from UFC and some serious contenders.
Yeah. When the moment I realized that is when Julian Lane beat me in the first fight, because I was just going through. I remember one fight I had. Like, this is the level that we were at that stage. I was home in Ireland on a Friday, and I went to judge a boxing show, a local boxing show, and I started drinking at it on a Friday. And I was on fucking drinking coke, and I was in a house at about 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning. And that was Saturday morning, and one of the boys went, "Jimmy, are you not boxing tonight?" I went, "Fuck, I am." So I fucking flew over that day and won the fight. You know what I mean? So, but with the Lane fight, and I was still continuing the ways I was with not training and drinking and stuff like that. And then when I lost that fight, I realized, yeah, the levels are coming up. You know what I mean? So you got to put the work in. Like, no disrespect to the fighters that I fought previous to that, but there wasn't the skill level wasn't there.
So that fight you've just said about, Jimmy, that was the first fight when you realised, yeah, the levels were.
Yeah, I realised I realised you gotta train. You gotta train for this sport now. Like, before, it was like pub fighters and stuff like that. But like, boys that weren't fit, didn't train right. You look at the lads now compared to when I started, they're athletes now. You know what I mean? They're proper athletes, and every one of them come in shape. I'm probably the only one that doesn't come in shape, but the level has gone up, and it's not just the level of fighting, but the level of athletes. You know what I mean? They're fit, they're strong. These boys put the work in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, with me, I had to evolve with the game, with my training and stuff like that. I've always been a great boxer, and my skill level is there, but my fitness and my dedication wasn't there. And like, if I was fighting now the way as I was back then, like, or preparing how good did, I'd be getting beat every fight, because I wouldn't have the fitness for it.
Yeah. So as well, Jimmy, like, your style is very unique. Like, you're very like your hands are quite often down, so you're almost inviting people to come and to come for the fight.
Yeah, and they do, and I'm probably the best counter puncher in the game. Like if you look at my fights, like, a lot of my knockouts is coming off the back foot. You know what I mean? And I got a lot of people asking me, like, what's that style? I don't have a clue what it is. It's just how I fight. You know what I mean? I've never set out and said, "Oh, I'm going to change my style and I want to fight like this." But it's different to how I fought in the amateurs. You know what I mean? Because it's gloves and you can fight different. But with the bare knuckle, it's you gotta, like, a lot of feints and stuff like that. You gotta keep them thinking. You know what I mean? If you're standing in front of a guy and you're not moving your hands or your body, You know what I mean? He's just focused on you. But when you're moving your hands and stuff, their brain has to take all this information in. You know what I mean? And they're distracted kind of away. So it gives them something to look at and all that. Then they're thinking, what hand is he going to throw? What's he going to do? So it's a style that's worked for me, and I've seen a lot of people try to copy it, but they don't do it as good.
What's easier, Jimmy? Fighting or tiling a roof, mate?
Fighting is easier. I love fighting. I'm one of them people that don't like hard work. So
no, but listen, Jimmy, fighting is hard work.
Any day of the week.
Jimmy, I'm speaking to, like, obviously you're one of the veterans, I'm going to say, one of the top level BKB fighters in the country. I'm sure I am the top level lad. Level, what we saying? Middle. Listen, I'll be honest. From everything I see, I'll go to say, currently, there's no other middleweight or weight below or above that could beat you. Even in Europe, anywhere really.
I like not be big headed or anything like that, but there's no one in bare knuckle that comes close to me in any weight division. To be honest, you know what I mean. I'm levels above. Like this is what you have to realize. I'm a traveler. Like I'm doing this since I was a kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like these guys are coming in and taking it up and stuff like that. But when you're doing something for so long, it just comes second nature to you. You know what I mean?
How much longer I mean, one of the things I picked up on as well, you said that you know how to punch, so your hands are still good.
Yeah.
Like, how do people learn to do that if they're doing bare knuckle boxing?
Well, like, see, a lot of people a lot of fighters will just throw punches just to throw punches. You know what I mean? And when you're doing that, you're not placing there. You're not aiming or placing your shots where you should do. And that's why you see a lot of people punching and they'll come and they'll hit people on the head and stuff like that, which is daft. Because you in this game, and especially bare knuckle, one punch just a slightly bit off can end your career with your hands. You know what I mean? So you gotta be precise with your shots. But and like to do it as effective I do it takes years and years. Like you got to be pinpoint on with your shots and how to throw them and when to throw them, if you know what I mean.
Are you surprised that there's not more travelers in BKBTM because of obviously you boys start fighting from a very young age?
I am, but then a lot of travelers are just don't want to do it. But it's just like they don't want to do it as a sport. You know what I mean? A lot of travelers do it to settle feuds and stuff like that, and a lot of them won't do it a lot of them won't do it because they're just entertaining people. You know what I mean? They're not going to do it for that reason. You know what I mean? A lot of them will say, no, I'm not going to go and fight and someone just to entertain people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I love fighting and I love entertaining. So I'm different in that way.
Jimmy, like so many people probably have seen you on YouTube for your fights and that, and seen very brief interviews. Probably that last interview after your last fight was when everybody saw the emotional you, like talking about the mental health. Can you just send a message to travelers, young people who watch you, also young fighters that are coming up? They may be on their first fight, second fight. You know, tell them, what does it take to become like a Jimmy Sweeney? What's your message to them, Jimmy? To everyone?
Sorry, you just cut off there, so I didn't get the last bit.
Yeah, to all the young fighters, Jimmy, all the young people, mate, what would your message be to them about mental health and about everything to everyone?
Just with fighting, you gotta love what you're doing. But if you're taking up bare knuckle boxing, get yourself in a boxing club and learn your art. You know what I mean? Because bare knuckle is a dangerous game, and you don't be coming into that thinking you're going to make a few quid, and you got to put the time in and learn how to fight properly. with mental health, the biggest thing I can say is don't be scared to talk. Don't be scared to open up and talk about your feelings. Don't ever let anyone put you down and tell you, oh, you're going to snap out of it. You're going to snap out of it, because it doesn't work like that. Mental health is like, depression is like a hole. You know what I mean? You need help to get out of it. You can't. A lot of people can't do it on their own. So if you're feeling down or having bad thoughts or anything like that, first thing you do is talk to someone. Talk to a loved one. Talk to a friend. Just reach out and talk to someone.
Wow, Jimmy Sweeney, thank you. That's amazing.
No problem,
thank you for,
no
and
problem,
you know what?
Alison.
Thank you for sharing that, because a lot of people see. I'm lucky enough to speak to a lot of fellas like yourself, bare knuckle fighters, and most people only see them on YouTube, yeah. And some of the fights,
cool.
they do look like scary characters. Nobody sees the real you, Jimmy. And do you know what? Thank you for sharing.
The Jimmy Sweeney out of the ring is completely different to the Jimmy Sweeney in the ring. You know what I mean? That in the ring, that's my job. Out of the ring, I'm just a normal guy.
So if any fans come to the show and they see you outside and that, they're more than welcome to come and say hello, get a photo.
I'm probably one of the best with my fans. I always have time. I always give a photo. I always have time for fans, because at the end of the day, that's what's paying me. And it's not just paying. It's these people take the time out, you know what I mean, to come support you, show the love. So we got to do that as well to the fans. And I love entertaining them. I love them seeing them coming out, and I love they can bring their family and have a great time and go home happy. So, oh, did you see Jimmy fight and this? You know what I mean? And that's what it's all about. So I will never ever turn down a fan for a photo or anything like that. And I fans message me and all that, and I reply to as many as I can, or you know what I mean, just a little message. It only takes 2 seconds to reply, but to me it's only a message, but to them it's absolutely massive. You know what I mean? I've got a lot of people message me through my fan page and through my personal page about mental health and stuff like that, and I reply to them all, and that little message from me goes a long way in their life. So I've always got time for people.
No, Jimmy, do you know what, Jimmy, and you talking about it on that interview and tonight, that's going to go a long way, because there seems to be a common thing. A lot of fighters do have some kind of mental issue, regardless of, it could be from autism to anything.
It's not even fighters. It's just in life
in general, isn't it? Everybody in general, yeah.
Because everyone has their ups, everyone has their downs. You know what I mean? Everyone goes stressed. Like no one is completely happy. Like there's people happy, but they're always just some little things of someone. You know what I mean? It's so everyone can relate to mental health, because everyone has them times when they're down and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, Jimmy, on a positive note, April the 10th, about 3 months away. I know you don't look past opponents, you never have and you never will, Jimmy, but I mean, what in the back of your head, because how many fights you have won, and obviously you are like a legend now, you must be thinking there's going to be a certain point where I'm going to think I've got to stop, or are you still just going?
I'll keep going as long as my timing or my reactions are there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like my timing and my reactions are second to none in this game. So like I make people miss by like centimeters. You know what I mean? I just still have that. But once that starts to go, that's me. I'm done. I'm not going to be around taking fights and losing them and losing everything that I've built up for the last 6-7 years. So once I see that happening, that's me gone.
Do you I mean, I'll just compare bare knuckle at the moment to how the UFC was, like, you know, maybe 18 years ago. Like, you like where the sort of fighters need to be in a position like yourself, like you're a working man as well, Jimmy, as well. Like, do you think you're in your lifetime of it? Do you think there'll be a point where the money's there that you can train full time? Because imagine if you could train full time every day without work.
Yeah, I'll be well retired before that point comes. That's in another 10 year, 15 year, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, when people look back and I'll be recognized for being what I am, the greatest of all time. But I'll be recognized for the work that I've put in, so people can get paid in the future. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'll go down as a pioneer again. This game, legend of the game. But money wise, it won't be there what my fighting career is going on, unfortunately. But it is what it is.
Also, Jimmy, I might say as well, listen, this is the last one. I know we're both tired. We've both been at it all day. There's a lot of people on YouTube or ex-fighters that say they're mental health ambassadors, but I really believe that you are, like, for our little world, the bare knuckle world, I believe you are a really big mentor and a massive a mental health ambassador. Thank you for telling us about your problems, and thank you for telling people everything. Thank you for opening up. All right.
Thank you for that, Matt. That means a lot to me, and I'm glad that me doing that has had such a positive effect on people. And you know what I mean, like a lot of people in my position wouldn't have done that and keep it to themselves and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I'm not ashamed of who I am or what I am or what I'm going through. And if I can help people, I will. Unfortunately for me, my dad didn't have anyone there to talk to. We wouldn't talk to anyone, and we lost my dad. God rest him. So I'm going to do whatever I can to help people and talk to them out of stuff like that.
Well, Jimmy, there was always kind of a mystery around your character. We all saw you with your unique fighting style, and then you opened up about the mental health, and I just think everybody understands it now, don't they, Jimmy? And listen, Jimmy, I'm not going to keep you any longer. Listen, can I catch up with you after April the 10th, mate?
You can catch up with me anytime you want, brother.
Jimmy, thank you so much. When this goes out, I'm going to share it. I'm sure there'll be loads of people contacting you about mental health and stuff. But from Fighting Talk UK, thank you so much, mate. You are an icon. You are a legend, mate. Jimmy, I look forward to your fight. I'll speak to you soon, mate. Thank you.
Speak to you soon, brother.
Cheers, mate. See you later on.